Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about the oldest makeup that I own. 90% of this stuff is definitely expired. My rule for expired makeup though is if it's expired and it doesn't break you out and it still performs as it once did, it's okay, it's fine. You can keep it, it's fine. All of this stuff I have had for at least 3 years, and some of this stuff I have repurchased, so it's not like the original foundation that I've had for 3 years, because that's a bit long. This is all stuff that I've had for a really long time. And this video was inspired by Julia Mazzucato here on YouTube. She does the most creative videos, and every time she does a video where she kind of just like talks about a certain category of makeup, like the oldest makeup in my collection, I want to do it because they're just so creative, and I don't know, I just find a lot of inspiration from Julia. So without further ado, let's get into the video. I have everything kind of organized by categories, kind of, but like always, I'm gonna go in the order that I would put it on my face. So I'm going to start with eyeshadow palettes. So I have 3 eyeshadow palettes that I'm going to talk about, and I bought all of them around the same time, so I genuinely don't know which one I've had the longest. The first one is the Kathleen Lights and ColourPop Dream Street eyeshadow palette. Mine is very clearly loved. It is so dirty. I bought this like right after it released, and it is such a good palette. As you can see, I have used it a lot. I just think it's so cohesive and it works so well together, and it's just a very well curated and thought out palette. The next one that I have is the Too Faced Just Peachy Matte eyeshadow palette, and this one doesn't look as busted as Dream Street, but on the inside you can definitely tell that I have used this so much. This is such a pretty palette. It's super easy to get like a sunset eye look with this palette, and I have used this a lot. And I will say that the formula on these shadows are starting to go just a little bit, but it's not to the point where it affects the wearability of the eyeshadows and really the pigmentation. It just takes a little bit more building up to get it to where I want them to be, and it's not annoying to me yet, but this is a really great palette. And then the last one is the Morphe and Jaclyn Hill Volume 1 eyeshadow palette, and this one again looks super busted on the outside and on the inside. We all know this is the original formula of the palette. I got it pretty soon after it released, and it's just such a good go-to. I travel a lot with this palette. If I'm going somewhere, I'll bring this with. Yes, it is a larger palette, but it has everything that I could need in it. Next, let's talk about foundations. These are my Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless foundations. I have 2 shades. One's a little bit darker, one's a little bit lighter, and these are not the original shades that I've had. I've had the shade 118 longer than I've had the shade 110. This one I am about halfway through. This one is still pretty new, but this is such a good foundation. It is truly a go-to foundation if I am sitting down to do my makeup and I'm like, I just want my skin to look healthy, even, and like skin, but still with foundation on it. This is typically what I will go for. And then I also have the e.l.f. Flawless Finish foundation, and again, I don't know how long I've had this for. I have the shade Natural, and this is again a good foundation. It is pretty dewy for being such a thick foundation, but I really like this enough to keep it around for more than 3 years. And then a concealer that I have. This is the Maybelline Master Conceal Camouflaging Concealer in the shade Fair, and this was so popular once upon a time, and it kind of like fell off. Like, it is a very full coverage concealer, and as a whole, I don't really think that fits the style of makeup that is popular right now. I think that right now it's more about light coverage, letting your skin breathe and look dewy and natural, but I still like this under my under eyes if I'm having a particularly heavy eye bag day. And then for a powder, now this powder was such a cult favorite. This is the Coty Airspun loose face powder in the original formula. The smell of this takes me back. Every time I open this, I'm like, oh, it's 2014 again. And it is a good powder. I actually bought this because of Patrick Starr, and I've had this for a very long time. And then I have one eyebrow product, and that is the e.l.f. Instant Lift Brow Pencil in the shade Neutral Brown. And I have not had this one specifically for 3 years, but I definitely have repurchased it over and over consistently for 3 years. Like, I have never been without this. So apparently it's a really good brow pencil. For me personally, I kind of think all brow pencils are the same. Like, I don't have a preference if I like want like a waxier formula or a really soft formula. I don't really have a preference, so the fact that I have kept this around for so long says a lot. And then I have two ColourPop Super Shock shadows that I have actually had longer than any of the eyeshadow palettes that I have here. They are collaborations with Kathleen Lights, and the two shades that I have are Weenie and Porter. I did have a lot more from the Kathleen Lights and ColourPop Super Shot collaborations, but they all like kind of got bad. But these two have actually stayed basically the same formula. In particular, Weenie is like exactly the same as the first day that I got it. Like, it is still so beautiful. And Porter has dried up a little bit, but it still performs really nicely, so I keep it around. And then I have a bunch of bronzers. I have 4 different bronzers, and I think I'm going to go, I can't even go in order. I know that the oldest one that I have, but then the other 3, I truly don't know which one I got the longest ago. So the first one that I have is my Wet n Wild Ticket to Brazil Color Icon Bronzer. This is in the old packaging. Genuinely could not tell you what this bronzer has been through. It looks like this. This part of the packaging is supposed to be clear. I don't know what has happened to it. It shattered a week after I got it, and I pressed it back in, and it has stayed since then. It is still a really good bronzer, and it performs really well. It is one of my favorite bronzers that I have, and it gives you this really beautiful sun-kissed glow without looking too orange, without looking too heavy or dark, and it's just a really good bronzer. This is the second one of these that I have bought, and that is the Benefit Hoola Bronzer, another cult classic favorite bronzer of everyone and their mother. I feel like I have nothing to say about this because everyone has this bronzer and everyone can speak the glories. And then another bronzer that I have that is not as popular as the other bronzers that I have, but still I think should get more credit for what it is the Too Faced Sweethearts bronzer in the shade Sweet Tea. And I actually bought this one in Florida at Disney Springs at the Sephora when I went to Disney World my sophomore year of high school with my marching band. And so this bronzer has a lot of like good memories connected to it, and it is still a great bronzer. It performs amazingly. I actually think I'm starting to see a hint of pan. I've had this for so long, and like, yes, there's a huge dent in it, but I still have not hit pan. It also like rattles. It comes out of the packaging, and it, you know, just we've been through a lot together. Then I have the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. Again, this is actually my third one of these. I used the first one that I bought completely up. The second one I bought right before I went to Disney World this past summer, and then it shattered on the way down there, and I had to throw it away because I had no way of fixing it. And then I rebought it, and another cult favorite. It smells so good. This again reminds me of my sophomore year of high school because that's when I first bought it, and it just gives me really good memories. The last two products are actually both e.l.f. baked blushes, except I use one as a blush and one as a highlight. So this first one, again, it looks super busted and it is truly almost gone. Like, I'm starting to hit pan over here on the corner for some reason. I don't know, but this is a really beautiful blush. It's super glowy and it has these streaks of brown goldeny goodness in it, and this is the shade Peachy Cheeky, and I don't think this is a peach blush. It is definitely like just a shimmery pink blush, but it is super gorgeous. Definitely, I've had this 5 years probably. I've had this for a really long time. I think I've had this since like middle school, but the formula hasn't changed. It doesn't break me out, and yes, it is probably crawling with bacteria, but it doesn't look any different on my skin. It still performs as great as it did the day that I got it. And then the other blush that I have that I use as a highlight is in the shade Pinktastic, and you can see why I use this as a highlight. It is supposed to be a blush, but there's literally no blush pigment in it. It has these pink streaks running through it, but there is by far not enough of them to actually be a blush. It is this really gorgeous champagne gold color, but obviously with a hint of pink in it, and it's just such a pretty highlight. This is one of my favorite highlights in my collection, and I will never get rid of this, even though it has like this weird bump of like hard pan right here, and it is definitely gonna break soon because e.l.f. packaging always breaks on me, but it is still such a good highlight. And then I have two lip products. Both of them are Maybelline. One of them I have repurchased, and the other one is still the same fresh lip gloss that I've had since day one. I've had it probably 4 years. The smell has changed, but it doesn't do anything funky on my lips, so I keep her around. And I just noticed that I have so many Maybelline products in this video. As you can see, I used to only be able to afford Maybelline, e.l.f., ColourPop. We've come a long way. But this is the, I don't even know if they still have this formula around, but the first one, this is the one that I've had since day one, and this is the Maybelline Caramel Infused Color Elixir Lip Gloss, and this is in the shade 065, and it is just a really gorgeous warm tone pink lip gloss. It is a very pigmented lip gloss. It makes your lips look so juicy and plump and beautiful and glossy, and I truly love this lip gloss. It has survived so many declutters. I use it very sparingly because I'm pretty sure you can't get this anymore. I could be wrong. I didn't research that at all, but it is so good, and I don't like using it because I never want to run out of it. And then the last product in this video, the last lipstick, is a lipstick that is my holy grail #1 lipstick of all time. It beats out every lip gloss that I have, every ColourPop lip, everything. And that is the Maybelline Matte Lipstick in the shade Touch of Spice. I have turned so many people on to this lipstick. It is just like the most perfect mauve pink color, and it looks so good on every skin tone. And on me, it is a little bit darker, but I have friends who have pretty dark skin tones, and it looks like a beautiful nude pink on them. And this is just such a good lipstick. I used an entire one of these up, like I was scraping down into it, and as you can see, this is up all the way, and it's probably about halfway done. This is just such a good lipstick, and honestly, it has the best memories attached to it. I don't think I could ever be without this lipstick. It is so good. And that is it for the oldest makeup that I have in my collection. Again, this video was inspired by Julia Mazzucato, and I'm sorry I didn't try to go back in my brain and try to figure out exactly how long I have had all of these products for, but I know that I've had them all for at least 3 years, but it is so hard to remember exactly when I got them. I started trying to remember and then I was like, this is so difficult, and I stopped writing it down in my notes. But I truly think that if I've held on to something this long, it is truly a favorite, truly such a good product. So I guess you could also say these are some of my favorite recommendations. That's a bold claim to make. Some of these I do just keep around for the memes, but they still are really great products. And yeah, I think that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you subscribe and like this video before you go, and hopefully I will see you in my next one. Bye.